Hey there, dog lovers! Welcome to the R Plus K9 podcast. My name is Anna, and I will be your host today. Let's talk about today's topic, which is all about leash etiquette and when should you have your dog on and or off leash. We've all been there, haven't we? The moment you stop and you wonder, should I let them off leash? It's so easy to forget that dogs possess a sensory world far beyond our own. Their incredible noses and ears can detect exciting things long before you even register that that thing even exists. This can potentially lead to your dog taking off before you can even think about grabbing their leash or getting their attention with something. While different dog trainers can have quite differing opinions on many training issues and how to resolve them, there seems to be one thing that everybody agrees on, and that's all about leash etiquette and who is that off-leash freedom meant for. So get ready for a quick listen as we dive into what trainers and owners across the board are feeling about this important topic. Let's hear what they have to say.
And when I told the owner, hey, can you please come get your dog? He went, oh, don't worry, she's friendly, she's not going to do anything. And the dog continued to growl at us as it continued to approach slowly. And I went, hey, please, can you please come get your dog? And then he came and got the dog. And he acted like I was being the unreasonable one.
Can you recall him? Leave it.
There's an off-leash dog. What do I do? You guys, it is the worst thing in the world. Trust me.
Don't take risks. Don't set your dog up to fail. Don't ruin other people's experiences, and don't harm livestock.
Immediately, you get irritated.
Can you get your fucking dog?
That dog's heading towards your dog. Your dog doesn't like other dogs. So now, not only is your dog a potential victim, you are a victim. You're putting me in a really bad situation. And so...
Why do you always have Veronica on a long lead in these situations? And I had to explain that I don't let any dogs of mine off lead in a completely uncontrolled situation under the age of 2. And she's only 1. She still has a lot of proofing to go. And in
serious things as a dog owner is to be walking your dog on a perfectly good walk, enjoying yourself, and off in the distance, you see an off-leash dog charging you. And then to make it even worse, you hear the owner yell out, it's okay, he's friendly.
So we're not talking about having dogs off leash in fenced-in areas that are designated for your dog to be in. We are talking about having your dog off leash in open areas that is not designated for dogs. So what I would like you to first think about is, what is the goal of having your dog off leash? Is it that they don't walk nicely on a lead so that you want to just get rid of the frustration, and if there is no leash, then they can go explore around you and you don't have to worry about that? Is it that you think your dog is not getting enough exercise, so if you let them off leash, then they will run around, chase squirrels and whatnot, and they will satiate that need for physical exercise? Or are you thinking about, well, I'm just really wanting to listen to my audiobook and my dog is kind of annoying and I have to pay attention to them on a leash, so I'm just going to take off the leash, let them do their thing, I will do my thing, and we will meet hopefully when we both get back home. And there is, I think, one more category, and that has to do sometimes with really showing off. My dog can do this type of people. And I want you to think about, have you ever felt any of these things? And I think I will be honest with you. I have felt definitely some of these things. I have felt sometimes, especially with sometimes high energy younger dogs, when I was not lucky enough to have a fenced in backyard, that, oh my goodness, it would be so great if I could just let them run freely for a little bit, so we could burn some of their energy off by running around together or tossing a toy or throwing a ball or whatnot. And while it was tempting, I also realized that a 6-month-old puppy has nowhere near the training, the impulse control, or the understanding of how to handle that level of freedom. And that is the case with many, many dogs. So first, let's talk about any official legal penalties that you may want to consider if you're gonna have your dog off lead in non-dog friendly areas. Oftentimes the fines vary based on place to place, and they may change over time. but they can be anywhere really between $20 to $100, right, per offense, and sometimes they go up over time, meaning if they catch you having your dog off leash in public spaces, you might get higher and higher fines as a repeat offender over time. Another thing that you may want to consider is, quite frankly, your own dog's safety. And that has nothing to do with the legal impact. It just has to do with making sure that your dog is, quite frankly, safe. And that means that that dog is mature enough and is under control enough that you know that they will come back 9 times out of 10. So if there are no posted leash laws and there is nobody around, and you have a dog who almost has 100% recall, I would leave it up to your discretion. However, when you have a younger dog or a dog that doesn't have that, you're putting both your dog, yourself, and others at risk. To say a quick example, I was walking my dog downtown, and while it doesn't matter, but for the sake of the story, the stranger is actually lucky because my dog is friendly. We were walking on a leash downtown Main Street, and somebody started walking towards us, and they did not have a leash on their dog. This was anywhere between 8 to 10 week old, pretty still uncoordinated, very puppy German Shepherd. And the person didn't even have a leash. And when I have politely asked them if they could put their dog on a leash, they unfortunately didn't even have a leash on them. They had to pick up the dog and carry it in their arms. Or in urban areas, you should never have your dog off leash because there is a chance of your dog getting hit by a car, your dog getting hurt by something besides a car, and also your dog getting distracted, right? And so when you have a puppy that young, all those chances are so high. And if that puppy would have made a mistake, and let's say I wasn't paying attention and I didn't ask them politely to put their dog on a leash, or maybe I asked them and they ignored me because they thought they wanted to show off, and their puppy did end up making a mistake and running up to a non-dog friendly dog. Sure, it is traumatic for the handler of the reactive or aggressive dog and that dog as well, but they're going to be the one who end up with a puppy who will be traumatized for life, and all for the sake of I'm not sure what. And this person, of course, when I just politely asked, as he stopped and talked to me with the puppy in his hands, what was the purpose of them having their dog off leash, since, Main Street downtown does require leashes. And so they mentioned that they were working on off-leash training, which takes me to my next point. What environments should this even be a question? Well, I'm a big advocate that you should never have your dog on a flexi lead or a retractable leash or a long line even, unless you're in an environment that is open and you can see who's coming around the corner. And there is a million reasons for this. Again, your dog may be friendly, but the other dog that you run into may not. Your dog may have a really high prey drive, and maybe if they take that corner and they see the squirrel or the deer before you do, you might be dislocating a shoulder that day. And last but not least, it may be your dog who is not friendly, and nobody deserves to walk into a reactive dog or an aggressive dog without any control on your end or any warning. So we have agreed, let's say, that we are not going to have our dogs off leash in urban environment, too crowded, too much going on, too high of a risk of anything and everything going wrong. So let's think about then what environments may be suitable. For example, a long line or an extendable leash. I would always make sure that, of course, you have a really good recall on those devices as well, because I can tell you from experience, especially earlier in my training career. Sometimes I trusted my personal dogs a little too much, and it hurts when a long line runs through your hands as you're trying to stop the dog from chasing after something. It gives you pretty bad rope burns. And so that is to keep in mind. This is why it's important that whenever you give your dog more freedom, that freedom is earned by a mutual trust and agreement on what are the boundaries of that walk and what are the things that are off limits. And that doesn't mean the dog doesn't make a mistake, of course, but it is unlikely that they will make the mistake, and that's where I would put the emphasis. And when I say they can gain that freedom, I also want you to think about that they can lose that freedom, right? You might be really doing good with their training, and then let's say there's a really rough day and they saw just too many dogs, people, or wildlife, and it just triggers too much excitement or too much reaction. And so they lose that freedom for that day and maybe for another day. You will have to put them back on a shorter leash and you will have to work on getting their focus back on you. So if you're thinking about having your dog on a long line or a retractable leash, you want to think of areas like the Museum of Shenandoah Valley, because you can see pretty far ahead, and if there is a person or dog coming, or even wildlife, you can always make sure to get your dog back by your side so that you can calmly and politely pass each other safely, and then you can give them back the freedom if you like. So, okay, this is all talk about long lines and whatnots. What about having your dog off leash? Well, I will say that I had a dog who unfortunately is no longer with us, so I can officially say that she has had 100% recall. But I would let her off leash in areas that were like dog beaches, that were off leash dog friendly. She was great around other dogs. She was pretty much only focused on her ball. So I would have her off leash in those areas because she really would always come back and she didn't really care about anything other than me or her ball. If you have a dog like that, those are probably the dogs you could take to dog beaches without a worry, or other off-leash dog-friendly areas that may not be fully fenced in. But I think it is lying to ourselves to say that all dogs can be off-leash. Not all dogs and not all dog-human teams are able to put in the work and develop all those skills that are needed for reliable recall in any or every environment. And that's okay. I don't think that having a dog off leash should be a badge of honor. Having a dog off leash is just something that some dog teams can do and others may not be able to. But it has nothing to do with their success or how great they are as a team or competent. And I would also say, this dog was the same breed. She was a yellow lab as my other dog, who was also a yellow lab. And I could have never ever said he had 100% recall. He was a good dog, but he didn't have that in him. And I was fine with that. He stayed on a long line when we were walking in dog-friendly areas that were not fenced in, because he would any moment choose wildlife or another friendly dog or a cute kid over me. And that was him. And it didn't make him any worse of a dog than my other dog, who only had eyes for me as long as I had her toy or some food. So where I'm trying to go with this is, while those videos may be sexy and fleshy, not all dogs can do that. I oftentimes see balance trainers with shock collars or e-collars, as some others call it, where they have their dogs off leash, and I know they're watching me when I'm working my dog or our clients' dogs out and about in public, and you see them kind of showing off, trying to walk closer with their dogs staying next to them and without a leash. And while yes, I would like to say that I trust the trainer, I don't know their dog. I don't know their skill set. And that's my last reason to keep your dogs on leash. other people may not know that your dog is safe, and they shouldn't have to go through a whole emotional roller coaster by the time they figure out that your dog is actually under control, even without a leash. Just put your dog on a leash whenever you're in a not fenced in area, and that way everybody can feel safe, and everybody is actually safe when they are out and about with their dogs. After all, we're a supportive community of dog lovers, and we always aim to learn more and understand how to better help others who are also on their journey. And there you have it, a glimpse into the diverse perspective on off-leash etiquette. Hopefully, this has given you some food for thought as you navigate the walk with your own best friend. Thanks for tuning into the R Plus K9 podcast, and happy training!